Dashing through the snow.
No.
The one horse open sleigh.
No.
All the field we go, laughing all the way.
But you don't have the laugh thing.
Ha 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 ha.
No, but
Yeah,
after you say
depend-
laughing all
it-
the way,
it
shouldn't
depend-
everyone laugh?
No, it depends on, and I'm doing the main chorus. You can if you're second voicing, you can do the laughing.
Second voicing implies I'm singing.
Yes.
I am not singing.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glowed. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let
Oh, wow.
poor Rudolph
Andre Pico,
playing any reindeer game.
Merry Christmas in advance.
Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then all the reindeer loved him. Turn out with me. They said, Rudolph, you'll go down in history. Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house,
Hey,
not a
David.
creature was stirring, not even
Hey,
a
Karen.
mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that Saint Nicholas soon would be there. The moon on the crest of the new fallen snow gave dancing
So now I know the
and I in my kerchief, and I in her kerchief, and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I threw like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw out the
I
shaft.
hear him.
The moon on the crest of the new fallen snow gave a luster of something dancing below. Oh my gosh. Karen, it is not an official song, but my grandma set "Twas the Night Before Christmas" to music, and that is how she taught us the
Mhm.
rhyme. So it's crazy.
Pico says, Rocky can sing that good. Oh, maybe that's our first merchandise.
What?
Baduy Pride, the album.
Yeah, it starts with Christmas, Christmas time is here. Time for joy and time for cheer.
The completely illegal.
We've
Not
been
royalty
good,
paying
but
album.
it won't last. Hurry, Christmas, hurry fast. Want a train? I want a plane that loops the loop. Me, I want a hula hoop.
You have to say it
We
with that
can
voice.
hardly stand the wait. Sweet Christmas, don't be late.
And then at the 42-minute mark in the album, it's totally silent. And then afterwards, you start hearing it. He was to the... No, I'm not singing. But we are starting. I guess we'll start. This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
This is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us. We talk about everything and anything random, live.
And on our 115th episode, we are celebrating the Christmas episode.
Yeah, so we're doing this a little early because we're pretty sure we won't do a show tomorrow.
Mhm.
We're not sure if we'll do a show on Friday. So we're gonna get Christmas out of the way.
Mhm.
And Toby's the one who thought of our sort of direction for this. So Toby, how are we gonna talk about Christmas today?
So the idea was to talk about anything and everything that makes us think of or is related to or reminds us of Christmas.
And I guess in my case, a big part of them are annoying Christmas carols that we're playing in the house every year. I don't know why we always played the Chipmunk Christmas album. It
Well,
was just one of those things.
or maybe it just happened to be the one that felt the most Christmassy that they could play.
Maybe, but we had like choral albums also that we
Mhm.
play, and so you would have like really creepy people singing, um,
Hey,
what's this?
Bong!
Hey Bong, Carol of the Bells, and
Mhm.
all that. So, but yeah, music's always been a big thing for
Mhm.
us, definitely. And you have to know the carols to sing.
This early, any viewers who are trying to avoid specific Christmas songs, now would be a time to be careful.
Oh yeah, it was so weird, like super random. Like my ex could not stand "Oh Christmas Tree, Oh Christmas Tree." I don't know why. I don't know why. I got a kick out of singing it. Oh Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, right?
And then there's, of
It
course, the
came upon a midnight clear, those glorious songs of old. We sang that for our choral competition.
mhm.
With angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold.
Your besides any song from Gary Vee.
Wasn't big on it. Peace on the earth, goodwill to
I
men,
can't think of
on
Gary Vee songs
earth,
that were
most
Christmassy.
gracious King. And to the starlit
Are you just
night
gonna
they
just sing anything while I'm doing this episode?
come to hear the angels sing. Our goal is to see if Toby will sing along at one of the songs.
No, I am not going to. But yeah, so there's the Gary Vee songs, which I'm not sure.
That wasn't a Christmas thing for us.
I don't actually remember any Gary Vee.
So
songs.
what are traditions or whatever that you always had for Christmas?
Well, in my case, it was there was always the mass, the religious celebrations, of course. It was always the anticipated mass, as they call it. That way, you can be home before midnight, but it's almost as if you went to mass for the next day. And the fond memories I have include when we were younger. We used to have this pickup. So after mass, we would be on the back of the pickup, and dad would be driving, and mom would be yelling at us to make sure we behave, and the three of us would be either just enjoying the view as the car drives by of all the what you call this, decorations and the lights, or if it were New Year's, watching the fireworks as we drove back.
Mhm.
Eventually, though, we stopped doing that because they realized it was dangerous as well. That the fireworks could always just fly into the truck or something like that. Music wise, we tended to have those mixed albums of all these different Christmas songs. Not the modern pop Christmas songs.
Jingle bell, jingle
Just-
bell, jingle all
And then
the
they
way.
dissolve from one song to the other. And we used to have a lot of those. I do remember though that we also used to play a lot of an LP of the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh my god, the holiday special? Why?
Because we had it. So we would listen to that.
Okay, I guess that's your equivalent of the Chipmunks for me.
Maybe, yeah.
Wow, Urine points out Pasko na Sinta ko. I did not realize this is a Gary Vee song.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I also sang this for a school competition
Mm.
thing. We had a Christmas caroling, whatever.
Yeah,
and
I think we sang that
you know,
too in
soloist.
the Bosco.
Pasko na Sinta ko.
I'm not singing.
Hanap, hanap kita.
I'm here.
Bakit nagtatampo?
I'm not.
Lilisan ako. Kung mawawala
It's the most I've heard Rocky sing
sa
Filipino in a while.
piling ko sinta, paano ang Pasko? I forgot how to go. Sayang sinta ang sinumpaan at pagtitingin ng tunay. Nais mo bang kalimutan ka na ang ating suyuan at kalab. I don't even know what that chorus means.
When you learn a song phonetically.
Yes, I don't know how it works.
Yes, RJ, I'm a Bosconian from Prep
Yeah, he's Boston.
till high school. My kinder was CLC, or Children's Learning Center in Tahanan Village.
Oh wow! And then Karen mentions fruitcake. So yes, definitely fruitcake was a thing. My grandmother was the type to make her own
I'm
fruitcake.
sorry, for a moment I thought fruitcake erased your heads because you were talking
Because
music.
there's a fruitcake for
But yeah,
everybody.
fruitcake. I know Javan loves fruitcake.
I never liked fruitcake.
I
I don't know
struggled.
why.
I struggled to enjoy it.
I think I only like fruitcake without the fruit. I
Yeah,
think I didn't like fruit in fruitcake.
yeah, I think I get you there. But isn't that like gingerbread?
Practically. And then I know there was some alcohol mixed into grandma's
rum cake.
fruitcake.
Oh,
Yeah.
rum cake was good.
So I wasn't too big on fruitcake, but grandma would make batches every year.
Did you do caroling?
Outside, no, because we never left the gates.
Mm.
we you don't talk to the neighbors. You don't know where they've been.
Mhm.
So I was growing up. Our grandmother had a duplex for like three branches of the family. So my mom's and then two families of different aunts and uncles. We all lived in the same house. That's why we were our first generation cousins. We're all quite close. And then at most you could play with the cousins, but then we would never leave the gate. We kind of vaguely knew who the neighbors were, but then we never interacted with them.
Hey, Jed. So yeah, Karen agrees. Remove the candied fruits. Yes.
Wow, Pico's leche flan. That's a
Uh,
nice. That's nice.
yeah.
I don't. This it wasn't distinctly Christmas for us, but there are probably some Christmases that we had it because Grandma would always prepare stuff.
Jed loves fruitcake. That's now two people we know who like fruitcake.
I mean, I probably would appreciate it more now in my older years than I did as a kid. But I'm on keto, so fruitcake is not keto.
If anyone finds keto fruitcake, which is going to be doubly hard, one, it's a pastry, and two, it's fruits,
And alcohol.
do let us know. Now that we're talking about
Merry Christmas,
food,
bye.
So for food, the foods I associate with Christmas. First, there's the blueberry cheesecake because my mom used to create blueberry cheesecake for everyone whenever it was Christmas. So we would like make 20 to 30 cheesecakes, and we would be packing them up and delivering them all over through Christmas. So there was that. And then there was, of course, the turbo chicken, which I've learned to cook because Yaya Baby would then have that as her specialty. It'll be turbo chicken for the family. And then at that time, before things got a bit more religious, we'd have the eight fruits. That supposedly you have eight fruits on the table. You have spaghetti for long life, for New Year and Christmas as well. Christmas ham. Yes, we did have Christmas ham. Yaya Baby used to cook it tostado the way I liked it, which was sort of like how she does tocino. And then what else? What was it called? Tibok tibok.
What's the best?
It's this kakanin that was I think it was called tibok tibok. Yes, that's it exactly.
Okay.
So it's this white
Wow, they
milk
say
pudding
Carabao's milk
with that brown I think it was roasted coconut or something on top or sweet enough. But we had a neighbor who always would make that. So it would be a trade of cheesecake and tibok tibok. And then eventually when mom stopped making the cheesecake, they still kept giving us the tibok tibok. To the point that there was a time they got not naman mad, but they were surprised we didn't show up to pick up the tibok tibok one Christmas. And when we were more, parang we were nahihiya that we were still getting and we weren't giving anymore. But they were like, "Oh, why did you pass by?" So yeah, that was an interesting.
Okay. So I got a few things to cover for Christmas. Christmas meat. Good grandma. So okay, my growing up Christmases are always tied to grandma because we live with grandma. And then think about Christmas dinner involve feeding potentially three families together in one area. So it was always a big deal. One is that, and I feel it's very strange. This is in the same realm as like grandma's the one who created what we call Mexican relish. And then I found out there is no dish called Mexican relish. And then there is another preparation that she would do, which I don't know why for the life of me, I always remember she would call it hayalay. But then hayalay is that sport, right? But when we say hayalay, we mean she makes this this braised beef thing,
Okay.
which she served with steamed um, string beans
Okay.
and corn.
Okay.
And that was like, it was a whole set in warmers and everything. And then, so when grandma said, I'm going to prepare high alay, and then that's what comes out. And then I just don't know what it really was. Or was it something served at a high alay um, court or something? Or would they go to the high alay club? And so I don't know what it was. And then some years she would get lechon. That was like, wow, really big. And lechon, as you very well know, is like a blessing and a curse. On the night itself, it's like, yay, we have lechon. How exciting. The next day, oh,
Was it a soupy dish?
no, it was dry.
Okay.
I mean, the beef was kind of like had a bit of a sauce, but it was very thick. So it more like clung to the beef.
yeah, that's not it.
No, and it wasn't even mixed together. It was served like
One
it was presented
separate
separately.
portions.
I have to ask my mom, what the heck is high alay? And then, but yeah, then we have lechon. But then, yeah, the curse of lechon is the next day, pum pa pum. Okay, you might have reheated lechon for lunch, and then the day after, pum pa pum, paksiw is here. So, yeah, that would always be fun. Um, and then I don't know, like the different families would bring stuff to Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
but grandma was like the main, like she would cook most of the food.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes like Uncle Robbie, and we played Diablo with Uncle
Mhm.
Robbie, and like he would barbecue for some Christmases or things like that. But the whole point of Christmas dinner, and we didn't Noche Buena in the sense that we didn't eat at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So we would start eating around 7,
Mm-hmm.
and then try to wrap up around 9, because it's only after dinner that we get to do Christmas presents.
Mhm.
But most likely we will first have to do family program before you get to before you get the presents. So,
So-
before I discuss that, I'll jump back to you.
Yeah, let's go back to food. Urim shares. That's our Scaldo Valencia.
Arroz Valencia.
Yeah. Urim shares recently homemade ham. Yeah, that was interesting when I saw you do that.
Oh, the ham. I forgot to touch on that. Yeah, grandma was definitely a ham person.
Mhm.
I don't know where she would get it. I think she would get
What,
it
was it just the ham meat or was it the ham with the bone?
ham with the bone, and
Mm.
it's super spicy.
Yes.
Super salty, sorry. And it's the type that she'd fry it in the morning, dip it in brown sugar, and eat it with coffee. It's a very specific ritual. and like pandesal. And like it was such an acquired taste, because really every time you eat it, you could tell that, wow, this ham is
Salted.
going to survive the millennium. So
Karen
Um,
shares. One Christmas, I only had pizza and desserts. I think that's still fun though.
ultimately, it's the time you spend, and whatever you
Mhm.
end up eating, it's awesome. I mean, like in recent year, we had a KFC Christmas.
Mhm.
It was literally, we ordered KFC because
It was hard to order anything else.
yeah, and then it was just like dad wanted KFC, so we had KFC. And so I don't feel any qualms. Or like one year, my sister, like years when my sister's in town, then we sometimes end up in like different Filipino restaurants,
Mhm.
because she's always looking for Filipino food. So we have closed. We have been at Max's until they closed one Christmas Eve, because that was our Christmas dinner. So we've moved beyond the big preparation. But I'm just saying that grandma was really like, I'm gonna cook. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had a lot of preparations. I think it was because also our house back then was pretty much a nexus for a lot of people. In the earlier years, when I was still younger, many of the neighbor friends would drop by more or less around that time to join and eat a bit. And it became such a running gag that the moment we have the food set up on the table, within minutes, Romel or Marco or some of the other friends would suddenly be outside
Who were
the
in the neighborhood?
yeah,
Yeah.
would be outside the gate facing the dining room and be like, "Tobes!" And sila baby would be like, ayan na sila. And mom would always have a kick of inviting them to eat because they'd always say no first, but then they'll eat and they'll have like 3-4 platefuls. So
That's fun.
it was a fun memory. It was quite a different time also during those younger years because we literally knew um, streets of neighbors. Um, I guess back then the village was younger and smaller, so people kind of really knew who lived next door. So when it was Christmas and stuff, there would come a point in time after the family Noche Buenas or the family meals, people would be bringing out their tables, and in front of the street, you've seen the house in Tahanan, that sloped street. You'd have tables set up there, and people would just be joining up, and everyone's bringing something to eat and drink, and that was nice.
See, I'm chatting with my family, and then my sister's like, I think they ate it at the High Alai Club, whatever that was,
Maybe.
and that's why it was called High Alai. Oh my god, so funny.
Okay, so Yurin brought up talent shows. Is this
Oh
connected to
my
what you
god.
wanted to bring
Yes,
up?
the Christmas presentation. So naturally, since all of us cousins lived in the same house, then everybody would have to perform something. For me, this tended to be different declamation pieces I would repeat, or songs I sang for mass that I think I mentioned this in another video that there was a year that I used Brian Adams' "Anything I Do It For You" as an audition to become a soloist for the first Holy Communion.
Okay.
So that Christmas I had to sing that song, and then beyond that though, I would have to sing the song I sang solo, which is "One More Gift," I think.
Okay.
If there's one more gift I'd ask of you, Lord, it would be peace.
Oh, yeah, that was my
here on earth.
that was my retreat song.
Really?
in the
As
gospel.
gentle as your children's laughter.
But I'm still not singing.
All around.
Still not singing.
People are weary of living in confusion.
No, I'm not gonna sing.
When will they realize
I'll ask for the ducks
that
to help me.
either heaven is at peace?
See, it's a good song.
When we live not in peace, if there's one more.
And it was interesting that it really shifted.
Yeah, I know. It was
tunes.
it got really dark. It's hard to
It,
sing.
it sounds like three different songs.
It's hard to sing, and I had to sing it in the second grade for the first time for everyone. It was really like, oh my god, what's happening with this song? So anyway,
I'm not
so there was
grumpy,
that.
Karen. I'm just very conscious.
And then like my cousin Jessica, so she's a professional singer now. She always had to sing every Christmas, and then so like we always had all these pieces every year, and then it evolved. I think my pro and con was in the fifth grade I won for a declamation piece, and then every Christmas they made me do it again. Every Christmas the same piece.
In my case,
Reverse
I was doing
creation.
declamation contests and the like since prep.
Okay.
So they weren't exactly having me do those things during Christmas. We used to celebrate Christmas Day at Lola's place in Pasay, and that's where we all have the talent showcases. And I remember that was one of the first times I sang in public, and you will never guess the song I sang.
The duck song?
No,
What?
it was.
Well, I'm waiting. What?
Okay, see, now I forgot the title. I remember the lyrics, but I don't want to sing it.
Maybe you should sing a few lines. The title will come to you.
No. It's one of those Wham songs.
Wow.
No, actually, George Michael, I think.
Why don't you recite some of the lines? You don't have to sing them, just recite the lyrics.
It starts with "I feel so unsure."
No.
I step into the dance floor, healthy feet without no rhythm.
Careless Whisper?
Yes, for Christmas. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Very strange song choice.
That
I
is
should have
odd.
realized more about myself at that very moment, but I did not.
That's odd. But it was your choice, or that was
It was my
it
choice.
was your choice to sing Careless Whisper?
I don't know why, but that was the song I sang,
Mm.
and it was with Auntie Barbie.
Oh, okay.
And we sang that, and afterwards it was a very strange, yeah, okay, and that's pretty much it. Um, but I didn't really get into singing as much because I was more into the piano when I was young.
Mm.
I was learning the piano. Kuya had drums, I had piano. It was Tracy who was more singing, dancing, performing, and all that jazz.
Well, whether or not I was into it, we didn't have a choice. Parents said perform, then you perform. If not, you got the look
Mhm.
and you have to perform. And I know there were, in my older years, I try to drag my feet, but then, like, right? No, just do it. So, yeah, you just
Yeah.
do it.
We had that on the father's side because it
Mm.
would be clan wars in the father's side.
Oh, okay.
You know, this Abad family versus that Abad family versus that Abad family, pasikatan. Um, we weren't good at it, of course. We were not as bibo as everyone else.
Yeah, so well, it was still in good fun, and like all of us cousins, kind of just like we all had to deal with it because like we all had to perform something. But that was life. And then, okay, people are asking when you stop believing in Santa Claus. So let's dissect this. Okay, first, after the talent show,
Mhm.
after dinner, then different family members will now joke about needing to go to the bathroom because we need to be all together when the exchanging of presents happened, and
Mhm.
every family group would have gotten gifts for
And
everybody
if anyone's
else.
missing,
You
have to
can't
wait.
give the gifts out, and that also begins the ritual of you each give gifts, you say thank you, whatever, and everybody sort of gathers their
Mhm.
pile of gifts beside them before you can open them.
Mhm.
And then worse, there were years that we will watch one person open their presents first
Mhm.
so that they can properly acknowledge who gave it. And it just made everything so long. Then it's like all the kids just want to go open presents, but then it was just family torture.
Mhm.
But we had to wrap this up well before midnight because
But we
Santa
hit
Claus comes.
10!
Yay!
Yay! We hit 10! See? True guy loves the new batteries.
Yeah, so but yeah, so and then but then we have to wrap up like early
Mhm.
because well before midnight because Santa Claus is gonna come, and then everybody had to be in bed before Santa arrives.
So talking about Santa, which everyone has started talking about in the chat. So Karen asks, when did you stop believing in Santa Claus? Because officially the stance of the show is he might still be real.
Depending on you.
Maybe we just all grew up naughty. That's why we don't see him anymore.
I have the sad reality of I figured out Santa.
Mhm.
It wasn't even. It was just through like I figured it out, and then I had.
Was it figure out you waited and spotted your parents? Was it seeing the gifts early on? What type of figuring out was it?
I don't precisely remember, but I remember sitting my parents down and like Santa isn't real. It's like- and I ruined it. I ruined it for myself, guys. Because then, so that year, I got to pick my Santa present because whatever. Because we still had cousins who were doing Santa, so everybody was still doing Santa, so we still had to do Santa. And then, it's fun to open presents on Christmas morning. So I was this. I think I forget. I forget if that was the year I asked for the Technodrome or if it's the year I asked for a telescope. And then it was a cool gift, but it wasn't fun
Mhm.
because I knew what it was. And then like, this sucks. And I felt kind of bad after that. And then when my little brother came along and we didn't want to spoil Santa for him, we just ran with it. But I think it was little things for me. Like sometimes there were still price tags on Santa stuff, and I would be the one to like, hey, Santa shops at Uniwide, things like that. And it's too smart for my own darn good. I ruined Christmas for me.
For me, it started off. I was a huge fan of Santa.
Mm-hmm.
As I love the surprise. We did have the stockings at the for a time by the wall, which come morning, oh, it's filled up with stuff.
Oh,
We had
commercial. We had this stupid, like, it looked like a stuffed toy, but it was like a Santa statuette
okay.
mounted on a thing. And then I don't know why I got into the habit of writing a Christmas list to Santa, and then I tuck it under there, and then it would disappear because
Mm.
it would get teleported to the North Pole, and oh my god! And then it's just the magic is gone.
We had something like that in the sense of um,
No, I
there
finished my water.
there would be a mailbox where we could put stuff in.
Oh, an official Santa mailbox.
Yeah, and then um, in the years that passed, there'd be all the gifts that would come, and we'd always be excited about it. But I started to notice that my brother and I always had the same gifts from Santa. So there was always a twinning of gifts.
Santa was smart. Santa
Yeah.
didn't want to create conflict.
And then at some point, um, Kuya wasn't that much interested anymore with the gifts coming from Santa. And I was still eager, but the gifts I was getting didn't seem to connect that much.
Okay.
Um, Unfortunately, around this point in time was when I started to become the naughty kid because I started prepping traps for Santa.
Oh my gosh.
Among the traps I created included so this is the door, so it opens like that. So I would place a pillow. So when it opened, the pillow would fall. There would be bits of Lego on the floor.
Oh, that's evil.
So it's stuff like that. And
Oh my god, we used to leave milk and cookies.
so yeah, when you wake up to your parents complaining and Yaya baby panicking because things had fallen on them while they were trying to sneak in and put gifts, you kind of realize, oops, I kind of realized now what's going on here. They did try to pivot it as they were helping Santa.
That's always like I think it's the first level explanation that they're
Mhm.
helping Santa. I always love my Santa. I mean, there was like the gifts from family on the night before, but
Mhm.
Santa gifts are always awesome. And then they didn't have. Sometimes they were a lot. They
Mhm.
weren't expensive, but they were a lot. And that was like always the thing that Christmas always felt super awesome.
Mhm.
And then, like, one of the things that really did clue me in eventually is like, hey, how come my parents know which gifts are for who? It's like there was like wrapper coding, but then like, hey, I think this is for you, Rocky. It's like, how? Why? Santa didn't always label presents. Um, but hey, I was in the same family fantasy where the Easter Bunny gave left chocolates and left us notes,
Mhm.
which apparently was my father writing with his offhand.
Mm.
And it's like, wow, he writes funny, and then it's like he has pause.
That's a good
How do you
answer.
expect the Easter Bunny to write with
That's
pause?
a good answer. I do remember at some point I figured it out, but Tracy didn't yet.
Mm,
So in the coming Christmases, I'd buy a gift and I'd add it to the tree.
okay.
So there was like, oh, it's gifts from Santa. And then my parents would look at each other because biglang sobra. And I'd be like, oh, wow, Santa got you an extra gift, Tracy. And it'd be a weird thing I found that I wanted her to have. So that was me.
Okay.
I was really the
That
naughty
was
kid.
interesting. To be fair, I think Christmas became more awesome again in the gift department
Mhm.
when I started to be able to give gifts.
Mhm.
So when it wasn't just wondering what you'll receive, but then like really thinking hard about it. And then I think that's what started indirectly the unofficial like competitive gift giving spirit of
Mhm.
Christmas. And I'll always say this: it's not about the most expensive gift; it's the most thoughtful gift.
Yeah.
It's the gift that shows that you were paying attention to what people liked and what
Mhm.
people were into, and that I still love that challenge of gift giving. That's my like. So I feel kind of corny this year. Then I gave a lot of Steam gifts for gaming friends. So
Mhm.
like gave different presents. But that hey, if you still love them, then it's fine.
And I
Then
think it's
guess
still
it
being
works out.
thoughtful because we're
It's-
finding ways for people to be able to play with others.
Yeah, and it's still safe considering the
Oh my
situation.
god, I think it's another bot.
Yeah.
Black magic.
Christmas Tagalog song, totally a bot. Okay.
So just going through the comments, Jed mentions, I don't think I really bought into the idea. I think this is of Santa. Yeah, I don't remember believing in Santa Claus.
I have like mixed feeling because my nephew in Singapore won't have the Santa experience, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also because Santa isn't a thing
Mm-hmm.
in Singapore. So if he had Santa, then it would, he would be the odd man out, and then
Mm-hmm.
it could probably,
And the kids would like wonder what he's talking about if
yeah,
he
yeah.
grows up
Plus,
thinking about
plus,
that.
as young parents, my sister family, I feel like they don't wanna lie to their kid. Which, when you think about it, that's what Santa is. It's
Mhm.
lying to your kid for years,
Mhm.
and not getting credit for things that you are doing for your own children. So, pros and cons.
Quick tangent though.
Hmm.
Tooth Fairy.
I also had the tooth fairy.
When did you discover they were the same person?
No, it all the House of Cards came down when Santa came. Once
Mm.
Santa came down, everything stopped.
What about the Tooth Fairy? What about
Easter
them?
Bunny, yes, it's like it was a snowball. Three
Mm.
kings, none of that. Then why did we have to carry around Ricky's shoes? Because Ricky's shoes were
Mm.
terribly smelly, but they were the biggest shoes in the house, and you figured it could fit the most stuff. But I mean, hey, I super appreciate all the work
Mhm.
that my parents did. That's a lot of work, and then I went on and ruined it. So I don't know. So we kept it going for my brother as long as we could.
Um, so Kenny just joined late on the
Yeah.
stream.
Hello, Kenny. Because he had holiday work, which is natural. This is just, oh my god, this week has been super crunch week for both of us. I still have work. I'm probably going to need to move along over the holiday period, and then I will have 3 days of work next week because I don't have the 30th as a holiday. All the fun stuff. So a lot going on.
Um, Going back to Christmas, um, were there any specific Christmas um, traditions that you feel just stood out or were very different? I mean, you mentioned a few like not opening presents until everyone gone through it one by one and stuff like that.
The division of family. So Christmas Eve is
Mhm.
with grandma. It's the matriarchal side,
Mm-hmm.
and then on that side of family. Christmas Day was the day that we had to join the Sunicos
Mm-hmm.
for Christmas, and then oddly, it was always only my father, me, and my sister who would go.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a very large gathering at a very big house, and we didn't know a lot of people. It always felt very awkward, and then it would just wrap up with us making the rounds and making mano everyone and getting money from people we didn't know that well. So it was lucrative because we would make money, and as you got older, hey, the denominations were getting bigger. But it was just a weird, it was an obligation every time.
Mm-hmm.
And then uh and this was like pre-cell phone era, so it really was a lot of sitting around and looking for cool people to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So like there was Uncle Theo, which I wonder if he knew him because he was a spirit quester also.
Possibly.
But I don't know if he was a Sunico, if he was a Ramos or something. But he was like one of the few uncles that we could like really talk to.
Mhm.
And then there's Uncle Robbie, of course, not Robbie Diablo,
Yeah.
Robbie. So Robbie Sanskrit literature Robbie. So um, it but that was my Christmas back and forth. It's like Christmas Eve was like with the unit the family unit that we all lived together in the same compound, and then Christmas Day was go to dad's side of the family.
Yeah, we had something similar. Immediate family would be Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day would be the mother's side celebration. Sorry, I thought I felt something crawl over me.
Oh, my Fitbit chimed because it's 10 minutes to 10.
But the father's side would happen either a few days later or a few days earlier, and that was because that was a big gathering of people. In the mother's side, it tended to be people coming up with something to present. So one family might choose to show off pictures. The other family might talk about the recent trip. And then on the father's side, it was variety show competition. It's pagalingan ng kumanta. It's the long lines for the money. It's all the other games like you pass around the basket and the basket will have prizes and stuff like that. So it was that different a distinction. The father side had the joy of some of the most intriguing, memorable gifts. And I guess the one I will cite now is the day that we all individually went home, each with a live fish. Because we were literally lined up, and one of the ninangs, one of the titas was like, okay, this is fresh from our pond, and started handing us each a fish that was the length of our arm. And that was just amazing. It it was just funny and amazing and memorable because we literally were staring at this squirming, struggling fish and wondering how we will go home with it. And it was, me holding that, and I look at Tracy and she has one too, and we're like, what? And we all go to the car and we're like, how are we gonna put this in the car? But yeah, stuff like that. And it's those memories. The odd thing though is when I try to remember the celebrations in the father side, it's always a struggle because it was so many different places. There were some celebrations in Lipa, there were some celebrations somewhere in White Plains, somewhere in QC, because it was different siblings, so they had different places. And they weren't necessarily at their place. Sometimes it would be a place near their place because that's a bigger venue.
Mm-hmm.
I even remember there was this one venue that had this large field, and then there was this like auditorium area where the Christmas party was happening. I remember the field because you had to cross the field to get to the cars,
Oh,
and it was just such a what are we doing here in the dark this Christmas type of feeling. But yeah, it was all these different places. There were a lot of times the Christmas parties for the father's side, for dad's side, would include like long drives because like the Batangas ones would take a long time to get there, or like there were those here near Villamor Air Base when we did have uncles who used to stay in the air base. So it would be, we'd be driving and stuff, and then dad would be like, oh, checkpoint, checkpoint. And I'm like, what? I'm getting nervous, and I'm looking out, and it's true enough, there's a military police. And all. So I'm like, what's going on? And of course, my dad jokingly, oh, hide the guns, hide the guns. Kasi we have toy guns and stuff. So we're all panicking naman because we're thinking it's really the police. And, it didn't help that, we did kind of live through the revolution and stuff like that. So there's that still feeling of something happening again because we don't quite understand it. But yeah,
double pay tomorrow.
get it.
Okay, guys. High alive was a thing. And then apparently my sister can only describe it as the beef was basically a boiled beef dika thickened with flour or some sort of roux, and then again corn and green beans.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
Just a set plate.
It was a yeah, and then it would
was a
be
set plate
it
and
could,
high.
it could be like one warmer for the beef, and then the string beans and the corn would be in another. And I always remember the beans because then we'd spend the afternoon
Shucking the bean.
shucking the bean. Yeah, so you have to
Yeah.
break the ends and then get that little string on the side, so that it's not as difficult to eat. Yeah, so it was a thing. It was a thing. But
Yeah.
then
That used to make me think that beans were like the vegetable version of shrimp. So
because you have to
remove
be
the spine.
okay. I understood that
And they had an armor.
Toby comparison right away because that's my job to understand this guy.
Hey, I'm not that weird.
Christmas time is here. Time for joy and time for cheer.
Okay, moving forward. Were there specific ornaments that stood out for your family or for you?
Ooh. My grandmother invested in these beautiful wooden.
Mhm.
They look like Christmas toy ornaments.
Mhm.
She got them from the PX stores in Ali Mall because it was run by
Are
like
PX stores still a thing nowadays?
I guess cash and carry is your closest, like where people get weigh and
Because
stuff.
PX stores were like so.
But it's like
I mean-
essentially SNR. SNR is just a a more economical
A
PX store.
large scale.
Yeah,
PX
yeah,
store.
but it's the same experience.
Because back then, a PX store meant it's imported goods.
Yeah, it's American goods.
And anywhere else was just local stuff. So PX stores stood out. But now, parang everything's a PX store.
Or at least there's like always foreign sections in supermarkets now, right? Like in SM, the front part is all like distinctly imported stuff.
Okay, so going back.
So yeah, so she had these
Figurines.
beautiful wooden ornaments, and they were sold in boxes of 24. She had at least 3 boxes of them to go on her tree, and I would be in charge of putting them back after Christmas. And when he's putting them back into their little plastic containers, it's like sorting Carcassonne all over again.
So we did a huge thing on decorating. We used to really. My mom had all these boxes of decor, and we would have themes. You know, it's silver in this year, or it's white only this year, or was like combining it's white and gold this year, or gold only, or silver and white only. We had the different explorations from lights on the outside to lights only in the core to lights only in the fringes, but not all around the tree. The first Christmas trees we had were huge, and they were those metal imitation pine trees. So the branches had all these metal,
the wiring.
Yeah, so you could literally sculpt the leaves. So to speak.
Yeah. We had that tree.
And the base was so heavy, so we had to put sandbags to make sure it stayed steady. It was that kind of a heavy tree.
We only had like maybe 7-8 foot tree, but then artificial ones. But I always remember but the ornaments remained the same. At most, Grandma would change the trimming in terms of like the garlands or so like it could, if it were going to be a red Christmas, then it could have red ribbon and garlands. But then the main ornament stayed the same, and then she always. And that's also like, you see the way I set up a tree. I always like white lights. So we didn't really like the whole colorful dancing music lights. It's always white. It's always tasteful, white, steady lights. That was our Christmas aesthetic. And then so that's why when it went over the tree, it's like, then for me, per foot of tree, minimum 100 lights. And then we would string it in and out. It was never, we didn't change it up. It was the same tree every year.
So we changed it a lot. But then what was constant for us, so when my parents got married, they had this wooden wedding bell, this rattan type of bamboo wedding bell.
Oh, that was the one with Tracy's thing also?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So they kept the wedding bell. They kept decorating it every Christmas as a Christmas bell. And then when Tracy got married, they
endorsed the bell.
They had her naman now keep the bell. So hopefully Tracy has it decorated in the house. But I remember that was such a thing because we, with Yaya Baby was the expert wherein she'd cut the papel de hapon, and then with Gao we'd paste it to the pieces. So it would be, you have the frame, you put the paste on the frame so that when you put the paper, it's exactly to that area. And then you do the next one and the next one. So it was a slow process, but in the end, it looked like it was made from copies.
Oh my God, wait. Okay, now you remind me. In terms of big Christmas traditions, Grandma had a parol. And the parol was like as tall as me. Or bigger. It was huge. It was this huge parol. And then it was one of those things that we had to do. We had to, every year, the parol would get stripped down. Every year, we have to put a new parol decor. And it was just papel de hapon and go.
Yes.
And for the longest time, my sister became in charge of the parol.
Did you get to cut? So for the tassels, you fold,
yeah,
and then
exactly.
It opens. Yes,
I never fully understood it at the time. My sister always
the accordion thing.
My sister was always more creative and crafty than I just helped with the go and the pasting thing along. But we would have to set that up every year, and then it would occupy the whole balcony.
So Jed's asking, do you put Xmas decor in your place right now?
No. Although in Cubao, for a time, we had a small tree.
Yeah. Admittedly, here we haven't because
we rarely have guests for Christmas.
Yeah.
We're not here.
And At most, we used to like put up a small tree and some lights in the window, but even that we kind of just didn't feel as important as making sure we spend time with our families and loved ones. So with family, if we could, we'd help decorate,
Mm-hmm.
or in your case, surprise decorate.
Yeah, we
Uh,
did a gorilla Christmas tree one year for my mom. Because she didn't have a Christmas tree in her condo here in BGC. So Toby and I showed up with a tree and we set it up. So and she was out at the time. So when she
mm,
got home, the tree was set up.
mm.
That was fun. They're still using it. Yeah, and then
And then we did have decor in Cubao, but when we moved out, we gave away the stuff to the people who helped us move. So
yeah.
yeah. So that's decor. One of the memorable decor that we had, not that it was fancy or anything, but that it really stuck to my head, was we had this tarpaulin of a life-sized Santa Claus image.
Oh my gosh.
And it would always be put up on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
which made you think Santa was like 6'5". And I always found it fascinating that around New Year, mahina na yung masking tape. So gumagano na si Santa. And sometimes we're all there and then we hear the and then we all look and we see Santa. Ayan na naman siya. And we all run and try to put it back up. But of course it's so tall so we can barely reach it. And
Christmas, okay, for decorations for us, it was a very strict cycle
mhm.
that the tree had to be up anytime after November 1, but no later than the first week of
Mhm.
Advent. So you couldn't mix it up with Halloween decor. If there was Halloween, you had Halloween. You respected Halloween. We respected November 1 and 2. So your decoration period was always late
Mhm.
November. And then, but very strictly, it must come down by Three Kings.
The Three Kings.
So first Sunday of January of the regular Christian calendar, then you'd have to make sure that you'd strip the tree down.
So
on
to,
that
to
weekend.
the viewers right now, do you all remember or practice
Three Kings?
or recall the Three Kings thing?
I mean, it was sold to us as leave shoes out so that they'll be filled with gifts and candy. But one year, I don't know why, the Three Kings gave me a Captain Power shoot 'em up set. It was basically Lord Dread's like
Mhm.
base, and then it had all these pop up things, and it came with a pop gun that shot the suction cup bullets. It was like, oh my god, this is so random. Why did I get this? But it's like the coolest thing ever. And
Karen says
I
we
would say-
don't. We only had. I know as younger kids, we may have had Three Kings as a thing. There was something that was filled up also. I think it was still the stockings for us. But in the latter part, Three Kings just became okay, time to put it down because Three Kings then. But there wasn't any more any
yeah, we
fanfare.
had it a thing, and then it was really we were encouraged to use our dad's shoes because he had the biggest feet in the house.
Oh, my shares, the shoes
It's a
thing.
Spanish thing, so
Mhm.
that makes sense. So yeah, so we would leave the shoes out on the balcony under the parol because that thing was still up there,
Mhm.
and then and we'd wake up and be full of candy. And why we thought it was okay to eat candy out of my father's shoes, I don't know. But it was a weird. So yeah, my family loved all these little like surprise the kid things. We had so many of them. We had so many of them. Jumping forward, I guess for us is that in our later years, in our adulthood, as we would still gather for Christmas, one
Mhm.
thing led to another, and then we always had a Christmas game. I was telling Toby about.
Mhm.
I told Toby about this 3 times. That there's always a Christmas game, and it was different for every year for many years. So like sometimes the fallback is always mahjong, and it's literally like okay, we'll buy the giant mahjong paper, and then play. What we would do is we would play on the pad, and then when the pad starts breaking, then you rip it off. Normally you're supposed to rip it off and lay that up, but
Yeah.
we would just play with the pad, and then it would be the whole Christmas weekend would be mahjong, and there would be small stakes. We would have to pay each other, but it's like $5, $10, and it's just so annoying. And
Speaking
then
of the mahjong paper,
Mm.
I think we had that in our household before because Dad was also into mahjong and playing cards, hence the table. Um, but I think when they stopped playing mahjong, I inherited the paper,
It's nice
so
paper.
I started using it for drawing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, going back.
Okay, so I mean, so that was that. But then like we had years where there was the Christmas where we played Seen It
Mm-hmm.
with everyone. And Seen It, that was like the DVD movie game. So you
Mhm.
would key in your answers and then it would respond to a disc. Um, so we played Seen It one year. We did Texas. We had a Texas Hold'em year. We were
Mhm.
at the Ascot or something. Not the Ascot. At Discovery Suites, I think. And we we played Texas Hold'em the whole weekend. And then I don't know why. It's like gambling with my parents, but we just had to keep playing. And you had to keep going. You had to keep the hands going because that's the official Christmas game. So it's been always different things. There was a year. It was I think a year in Singapore. It was an edition of Monopoly that had a credit card system.
Mm-hmm.
But then Monopoly is universally we win. My dad always wins Monopoly.
Jed asks, "Hold on, we're just drinking water tonight, right? This isn't a party episode yet."
Yeah, we're just chill. We're just being warm and fuzzy Christmas. Although
Mm.
I think Urim is drinking. So I mean, you're free to do whatever you want
Yeah.
in your own homes. So yeah, because we're still holding out that we might do a Friday episode, a Friday drinky episode.
I should have started this sooner.
You can adjust the time.
Okay. Anyway,
Anyway, yeah, yeah. No, so when did you start? You can say 9, right?
okay.
Okay. So yeah, so we had a Christmas game.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? What other did you have movie traditions or something or?
Not as an entire group or an entire family. Um, I well, mass was always a thing. Because we always made sure that we were present for mass for Christmas and New Year. Um, I know there was there were two occasions I wasn't able to attend Christmas mass because I fainted.
Huh? Why?
Um,
Hungry?
we never really figured out why. One was
Should I be concerned? This is in
one
your
was
medical history.
one was I fainted before going to mass, and the other one was I fainted while at mass. And in both cases, the doctor said baka pagod, dehydrated, puyat. I was a puyat always person
Okay.
at that time. But yeah, um, it was always, Christmas and all, get ready na for mass and get dressed. And we'll all make sure we pack the folding chairs because the church would have run out of chairs by then, so we at least have our own portable chairs. Um, Dad would be driving, and then once we arrive in the church, I hurry down to unload all the folding chairs while Tracy, mom, head to the church. Kuya would help me with the chair, set it up while Dad parks, and then we all join together. And in the latter years, it kind of switched roles wherein it would be Dad going down with sila mom and sila yaya. Sila yaya would bring down the chairs. And then I'd be the one parking the vehicle, or Tracy would be the one parking the vehicle. But that was pretty much our routine. And uh, interestingly, in terms of mass, we had a spot that we always go to.
Mhm.
So if it were us,
Isn't every
alone,
family like that? Like when you go to church at the same
Yeah,
church
there's a
regularly,
place
like
that
you aim for a particular area.
so for us, it was this right side portion outside under the trees
Okay.
when it was just us. But if it was us with other family members, extended family, then we would be in the front of the church entrance, but not inside, outside.
Mm.
So it was an interesting thing because sometimes we have the chairs and we're like, wait, where are we putting this up? Dumba or dito? And that sort of thing. And there
Wow.
have been
Church
instances
traditions.
we would be there on the right side, but then we'd see sila tita ganyan, and then okay, lipat na tayo doon, and then we'll bring everything there. So it was an interesting little tidbit that we had.
Masses have never been super big. There was a period that we would go for a few. We would try to go regularly,
Mhm.
mainly because of my lola who would visit. But then like I've never done like Misa de Gallo and things like that. Oh, I remember now that in our older years, now that we were able to give gifts, my dad single handedly took on the mantle of delaying gift giving because then he'd be like, "Hey guys, I have a copy of the new Lord of the Rings extended edition,
Oh.
and like we should all watch. And they're like, no, we want to give gifts. But yeah, that was a modern incarnation of it. Oh,
Karen shares some Christmas Eve. They had videoke.
we had one of those because I know there was a year my sister gave a magic sing, and then naturally we all had to sing video game.
We never got into videoke. We were into videoke during the 80s, 90s.
Oh yeah, I mean the nineties when like dad for one of his med rep things won literal karaoke machine,
Mhm.
and and how it was those stand up radios that just had the mic ports.
Jed shares, oh, now I remember why the Santa thing didn't work for me. Because we would do the Simbang Gabi at midnight and would go home at wala nang laman pa yung socks tree. I then resented and became too suspicious. Kasi nga they were all out, so hindi makahanda. Yeah. That also means, yeah. So for those who had the Santa thing, that meant you had to sleep by midnight, if not before midnight.
Yeah, you have to sleep early.
Because that's the only way Santa will visit. If you were awake, Santa wouldn't visit. So yeah.
That was our rule. See
Mhm.
that you had to sleep, and then and it was so frustrating because then I'd be upstairs, and then I can hear the rest of the family still like laughing, drinking, partying, and like, what's going on? How is Santa going to come if they're still drinking in the living room? So it turned out, yeah, it was them.
Mitch shares watching Home Alone for the succeeding years, 3 years.
I think we had a few years of watching Home Alone for Christmas.
Mhm.
I agree with that.
So, what are the Christmas movies that you remember? So there's Home Alone.
Home Alone 2.
There's It's a Wonderful Life. Wasn't that?
That was a thing, but
Yeah,
more
that
like
was,
on
right?
TV. But it's really more. It feels like more an American tradition to
There
watch
was the stop motion one with Rudolph the
it.
Red
Oh,
Nosed
those
Reindeer.
the what is
I forgot the name.
Lance Bankin.
Lankin, Latner,
Uh, uh, Rankin Bass.
Rankin Bass. There you go.
Rankin Bass.
The Rankin
Christmas
Bass
specials.
Rudolph. Hallmark movies weren't a thing so much yet in the past.
Yeah, because Hallmark was like later in life.
Yeah.
Like we actually had a Hallmark channel. When cable, with the rise of cable TV.
What else were other Christmas movies? Many joke Die Hard's a Christmas movie. You haven't seen Die Hard.
I'll watch. I promise. We'll get around to it. No, I don't mind Die Hard. It's just action, and it's Bruce Willis. He's funny. He's funny action hero.
So shouldn't Ghostbusters be a Christmas movie?
Was it released around Christmas?
But did it have a scene where it's like Christmas Eve?
I
That's
don't-
the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
No, that's not. No.
They're just New York. That's why they're in coats, and then it's all marshmallow. That's why it looks like snow. What else? What else?
Back in
I'm trying to remember what
business,
other Christmassy
control.
movies were out there. I never got into the Adam Sandler one. Wasn't there an Adam Sandler Christmassy movie?
Wasn't it Something Days of Honor? It was like at the Something Days of, but yeah, because it was like a drunk thing. I don't know. It's an Adam Sandler movie. I don't think Adam Sandler movies are meant to be heartwarming family traditions. And then we were watching that Netflix thing about the holiday movies that made us, and they super celebrate Elf. And Toby and I have both never seen Elf, so apparently it's a thing that there's a lot of people who use Elf as a traditional Christmas movie.
I'm looking at the list now, but I'm kind of ignoring the more recent ones
Because there's so many. My sister thrives on Hallmark style Christmas movies, and so she's enjoying this wave of them that have appeared on Netflix. And like, yes, like some of them are franchises apparently, and she's super into all of them.
So I'm trying to see if there's any that might be familiar. Classic
Oh, you
Christmas
remember
movies.
like there was a time, I mean, in our more recent life, like Love Actually was like everybody has to talk about Love Actually every Christmas. And then I think HBO would always play it. It became one of those weird like pseudo Christmas movies until they started creating literal holiday movies like Happy New Year, Valentine's Day, over and over and over again. Oh, those Tim Allen Santa Claus movies? Those are like weird. Those are sort of a thing. Nightmare Before Christmas, of course, yeah. Wow, it's just the new stuff already.
Yeah. Well, it's supposedly the classic list. Yeah, Santa Claus was the Tim Allen one.
Yeah,
Claus
yeah,
with an
yeah.
E. Admittedly, very good makeup.
Oh yeah, he was awesome as Santa. Admittedly, I mean, he looked great. He looked super great.
It's a Wonderful Life. Of
Every time an angel gets its wings.
course, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Mitch also cited.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh, a Charlie Brown Christmas. That's fun. I like that too.
Holiday. That's recent.
Yeah, that's a new Netflix thing.
Um,
Or
Holiday Affair.
Miracle on 34th Street.
Never seen Polar Express. Still afraid to do so.
Weird that we both had not seen this movie. There's like these weird things like, oh, we never, both of us didn't do it. So
We haven't
yeah.
seen this one either. The night before.
Yeah, we didn't watch that.
Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Or Stole Christmas. Did you ever see this?
Yeah, it was the weird
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey as the Grinch.
I haven't seen
wasn't
it.
super sold on it, and I loved Dr. Seuss, but that was a little weird
Oh, Tokyo Godfathers.
because it's set during
Set in
Christmas.
Christmas.
I still haven't like seen it.
Muppets
We have to
Christmas
watch it.
Carol.
Oh my God, the Muppet Christmas Carol! Wait a minute.
How could we have forgotten that?
Wait a minute. That is awesome. Oh, Jingle All the Way with Arnold. Hey, that was actually pretty distinct than having
Mm.
Arnold chasing after an action figure as the It toy.
Oh, Gremlins is listed.
As a holiday movie.
Because
This
the
is the
evil spawn
setting.
ruined Christmas Eve.
That's
after
true. Because he
The
was a
boy
kid.
breaks the rules.
Okay.
Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah. I enjoyed that one.
Family Stone.
Oh, wow, it's getting another Jingle All the Way.
Yeah. Babes in Toyland.
Babes in Toyland. Oh my gosh. That's something.
Yeah, here it is. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, indeed. Oh my gosh, it came out first 1964.
It's very old. And then Frosty the Snowman.
Mm.
Which was actually quite sad when like, oh no, is he gone? Did he melt? We only have his hat
Oh my gosh, Lethal Weapon counts.
as a Christmas movie.
It opens with Jingle Bell Rock and it ends with I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Ah, too old for this shit. Very timely for like our detective LA crimes thing. No, so I don't
Batman Returns.
I don't know why like Christmas, if ever, and for us Christmas show, this was like watching like big franchise movies.
Mhm.
Of course, yeah. Karen says Frozen. Yeah, I mean like that's definitely one of the newer ones now. I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody's watching Frozen. So even though it's
and
not,
the new Klaus one.
yeah, the
Klaus-
Klaus on Netflix, which
Yeah.
was nice. Which is nice. We just didn't watch it during Christmas. So, yeah, okay. Wow, this has been a long episode, and
Mhm.
it's not even a drinking one. Will you play detective tonight? No, we don't have all of our players. Sorry. We need the team, and that the team needs scheduling because it's a full team of 5,
Mhm.
and it's hard to get all 5.
So to wrap up, it's still the lockdowns as far as pandemic is concerned, despite the fact lots of people are going out. And we will all be in the next few hours, well, in the next few days, celebrating Christmas in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
For many of us, us included, we are looking at finding ways to be able to celebrate with our immediate families.
We haven't figured out our schedule.
We're
so
not
far.
quite sure yet how.
Well, I
or-
generally know I have to have dinner.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know about you.
I know I'll have to have dinner as well or lunch, only because it's the traffic that
It's
I'm
like
sure-
lunch or dinner or overnight or
because if I go lunch, then in theory I can get back by dinner, but then the traffic might be too horrible to go back.
yeah,
So it might
not be
better
practical.
to stay over. But then if I'm staying over, then maybe I should just go dinner. But then if I'm going dinner, I don't want to be part of the traffic going there. So maybe I should still go at lunch. See? So that's my
You guys need
confusion.
to figure out your thing. At least me, I just know. Well, to be
Hey,
fair,
you
me,
also can walk it.
I'm
alright?
going to walk down the street to my mom's, and then we're okay.
So we're still juggling that. We're still unsure how. And for many others, you might not have the opportunities to be with your immediate family or to be with your friends or loved ones. Or maybe some of you might even be separated from them due to circumstance, due to events. Like we know some friends who the partner had to go back to the province,
Mm.
or others who, um, well, I forgot the word, but basically you're not allowed to really expose yourself because of conditions.
You're self-isolating?
Yeah,
Or
not necessarily because you're sick, but
you're an
because
at-risk population?
yeah, you're an at-risk there. That's the word. So it's stuff like that, and we'll just have to accept the fact that these are very extraordinary circumstances, and we will still have to find ways to celebrate.
Yeah, I think for like, and this is like I think we kind of did a general moratorium on gifts in the family this
Mhm.
year. Although, like, I gave a bunch of friends Steam games. Although I wish I had waited for the Steam Winter Sale to buy these games, but it was okay. I have no regrets. I'm glad I got these games for everyone.
Mhm.
And then
I haven't gotten Rocky a gift.
I got a. I didn't get to be a gift.
Hey, you did.
No, I didn't.
You did.
I just prepared for the game event
my
on
my
Saturday.
Steam account suddenly had 2 games.
And then the message was, oops. And one's a board game. So in case we play Root, now you have a copy of Root so we can play Root. Diba? So that's the challenge. I wrote about this in a blog, right? That it's difficult to a lot of these app specific digital adaptations of board games are challenging because everybody has to have a copy of the same game.
I love Mitch's comment. Oh, Rocky, really? And that oh. It's probably a typo, but it still has that nice sound. Jed shares, first time I won't be at home alone this Christmas Eve anymore. And that's the thing. I think ultimately we have to find ways to still celebrate in the sense that even if it might be as simple as being able to have something to eat that will be a little bit more special this Christmas, celebrate that, enjoy that.
My sister was joking, like, because we're having a remote Christmas where they're all the way in Singapore, and she was like, I want a multi-camera setup, and like, you should set up multiple phones into a call, but only one is unmuted, and then the rest are just
so you can see
so that she has
places.
a full angle of the house during Christmas,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's going to be how that's going to work out.
Mhm. Yeah, and then we haven't really gotten gifts either in our family. But I know mom still would have prepared something, so I kind of still prepared something as well.
Hey, I prepared a big thing. I got a group gift. It's like, it's not distinctly mom or dad. I'm upgrading the house.
And
still in the game.
And in the end, you just have to, make the most of the season because, we still have our health. We're still safe. We're still living under a roof. We're surviving this year, and it could have gotten far much worse.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make sure that we celebrate the season, especially because there are many others who have been going through things as terrible as we have, if not even possibly worse, but are choosing to celebrate. And the last thing you want to do is to be the one who brings them down. Oh, my mom just called.
Dreidel, 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 I made you out of clay. And when you're dry and ready, then dreidel I will play. Happy Hanukkah. Thank you, PB Herman's Christmas special with Annette Folicello. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
At the same time, though, we would like to
Feliz
reach out.
Navidad. Prospero año felicidad. I'm gonna wish you a Merry Christmas. I'm gonna wish you a Merry Christmas.
So reaching out to all you viewers
gonna
out there,
wish you a Merry
if any of you
from
are,
the bottom
hey,
of my heart. I'm your musical accompaniment because you don't want to sing.
I will not sing. Be sure to check out each other if you want to see if there's any company, if there's anyone who's feeling lonely.
Yeah, Toby checks me out all the time.
It's a Christmas gift. I get to unwrap. So, make the most of this Christmas season. It's a hard, hard year, and we deserve to be happy.
And when in doubt, sing Christmas carols. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. All the fields we go, laughing all the way. Grab some bobtails.
Oh, you missed the laugh again.
Making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle
I am not
all
going
the
to
way.
sing.
Oh,
That's
what
more
fun
than
it is to
30
ride in a
minutes.
one-horse open
We
sleigh.
had a
Hey,
lot of
jingle
fun,
bell,
and we
jingle
hope you'll
bell,
join us
jingle
again
all
next time.
You can send in suggestions for future episodes at the Google form at bit.ly
Baduy Pride ideas or like songs that you think Toby should be singing on an episode.
No, we're not having a singing Toby
Ooh.
episode.
Christmas,
'Cause if we
Christmas
do-
time is here. Time for joy and time for cheer. We've been good, but it won't last. Hurry, Christmas,
gosh.
hurry fast. You can follow us on Twitter. All Toby No Shade, RG Sunica.
You can also check out our blog, baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and more of Rocky singing.
Apparently. Hey! Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below. Let us know what are your like Christmas triggers? What makes you think of Christmas? What makes a Christmas experience fully
Mhm.
Christmas? And how are you making the most of it, this year? And of course, be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this
This
is
is
Baduy
Baduy
Pride.
Pride.
Fist kiss. Mwah! Merry Christmas, everyone.